Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. It's episode 213 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And this is Brian.
And this is Emily.
What?
Yes, you heard it. I know. Did we hear right? Do we have a third host this week
We have
to
a
help
mystery
us with this
host.
movie?
I think so. We've threatened to bring somebody on to talk about this movie, and we've got a delightful guest.
Yes.
Miss Emily Sweet.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so excited. First of all, just to be back talking with you guys because I love you guys. I love your podcast, but also this movie is bonkers. I can't wait to talk about it.
I know.
Yes.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's so great because it's fun too, because since we became friends with you and stuff, now we always share different things we watched. And this I felt so left out of at first, because usually I'm jumping right in on this, but you and Tim, Tim watched this first and then kind of told you to watch this, and you jumped on it, and you guys were going back and forth, and I was like, all right, I have to see this thing. This thing sounds wild. Just the tip, and it didn't ruin anything for me either. The things you guys were talking about only kind of enhanced it.
You have to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
And of course we're talking about The Visitor, which we neglected to say right now, but
1979 Visitor. There's another one that's, I think it was 2008 or something.
Yeah.
This is the 1979 version.
I don't think that's a horror one, right? That's a Richard Jenkins vehicle.
Yeah, they're not related. It's not a remake or anything. This is its own thing for sure.
Oh yeah, this is well, I would say unlike anything else, but there are some comparisons to other movies that it does share, but not in the way you think, just loosely, I think, right?
Like what?
Well, a lot of people say The Demon Seed. There's a little bit of, I think, Rosemary's Baby I see in there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Stuff like that. I really think I think it opens. I mean, we'll get to this later when we actually start to talk about it, but I think the opening looks like a really bad Star Wars fan film. But
it definitely shares some DNA with the bad seed type evil child movies for sure.
Or as our friends at Kim and Ket would say, creepy crap bag kids.
Yeah, creepy crap bag kids.
Well, just my first question was when you said Rosemary's Baby, I know people were terrified of that. Do you think people were actually terrified, or was this so bonkers that they were like, what the hell are we watching?
Yeah, this one, I don't know. I think you could be terrified in an odd way. To me, I'd be anytime Shelly Winters is coming up singing at me, something bad's going to happen, so that would scare me, but not, the traditional sense.
I was reading about this movie because I had to read about this movie after I watched it, but it was actually fairly critically well received.
Stop it.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. I'm serious. And so I'm sitting there, how was anybody taking, but it was the 70s. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
True. That's true.
It was a different time.
It was. I mean, think of this movies we've seen in the 70s, right? And, there's always some sort of that kind of element, not everything's the perfection. There's kind of, but that what makes it, I think that's what makes it, gives it its charm, gives it its unique quality in there.
All right, it's making me want to talk about it.
I know. Okay, we got to do our first chop real quick.
I got to save it. All right,
we got to do our usual thing here. So, but Tim, I guess if you want to start first.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go, everybody. This is our first chop. So I watched one on Shudder that I've been meaning to. So Brian, that Severin. Speaking of Severin films, we were talking shortly before we started recording, but they put out that amazing box set of folk horror.
I need that. Did you see that, Emily? By the way, did you hear us talk about that?
Yes.
That looks so cool. We need to have that.
But the nice thing is Shudder has put out most of the movies on this box set are available on Shudder right now. They just did this huge dump of folk horror. So I watched the first one that I really wanted to see, which is called Eyes of Fire. And this one, I believe, is 83. Yes, 1983. Total folk horror. So in this one, it takes place shortly before the American Revolution, so 1700s. And there's this preacher that is accused of being kind of this adulterous, polyamorous type guy. So the village kind of they attempt to hang him, but he's saved by one of his disciples in kind of a supernatural way. And he decides to leave and take his flock with him
Wait, can I ask one question? Did they tell him to get the flock out of here?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I got to tell that every folk horror joke. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No, that was pretty good. So he takes his so he gets the flock out of there, and they end up setting up basically their new settlement in this cursed woods, and it's cursed because, and the reason they pick this place is because they know the Native Americans will not go into it because they're scared of it, right? And it's supposedly haunted by something or some kind of witch thing. And so what follows is not as bonkers as The Visitor, but it's bonkers in its own way. And there's lots of hallucinatory imagery. There's a lot of like witchiness. There's a lot of weird nudity. It's
define weird nudity.
Yeah,
like
a lot of
parts in
body
the wrong
paint.
spot. I don't know.
A lot of body paint, I guess I would be
okay.
the best description. And so you're not really sure what's going on, like what is haunting these woods. And some of the flock are witches, and one of them's supposed to be like a fairy or something. Like she's Irish, so I guess she's kind of a fairy witch. I don't know. It's crazy. You got to see it. It's actually really good. It's only 86 minutes, so it's a short watch, but it's one of those movies that you go into it thinking this can't possibly be good, and the longer you watch it, you go, this is kind of actually good. Like,
cool.
It's legitimately kind of actually good. And supposedly this movie was kind of lost, or maybe not lost, but was widely unavailable for a while. So it's definitely worth tracking down on Shudder. I would watch it before it goes off of Shudder.
Yeah, I don't know how long they're going to have these on.
Yeah,
I know they kind of did it as a good collaboration to promote the Severin documentary and film.
But it's another thing that makes me want the stupid box set.
I know. This box set is like $200+. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm hoping Amazon like drops it like drastically. I keep every day. Well, I wouldn't say every day, but pretty much every other day at least. I've been checking to see the price on this thing, see if it goes down. But and then I may jump on it.
What was the name of this one again?
it's called Eyes of Fire.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, we have a running list with Emily. We send her movies that we think she'll like, and some are hits, I guess, some are misses. But this one sounds like a hit though. So the only thing I have really that I started, other than watching The Visitor twice to prep for this, I watched the first episode, and I'm really hooked. And it stinks that I only had time to watch the first episode on Netflix at Archive 81.
Yes, I've heard good things. I want to see.
Oh my god, yeah, this is really, really cool. It's about this guy. He kind of gets like this archivist gets hired. He's like restores videos and films and stuff. And he gets hired by Martin Donovan. I don't know if you've seen him. He's been a ton of stuff. But he and anyway, so he gets hired, and there's almost like it reminds me of Caveat. I like the thing where because apparently the tapes that they find are discovered burned from this old building. And I guess that it's like they're so damaged and so in such shape that he has to go to this like remote location basically that has no cell service. Supposedly it does have a landline, and it's stocked with food, and there's food deliveries and everything. But he's out in the middle of nowhere, and he kind of has this thing, and he's got to restore these videotapes that are like literally burnt and crispy from the fire. So it's like, as he's watching the first video, you find out it was this woman that decides to move into this building. And they don't know why yet, but there's basically some kind of mystery in there. And she just starts interviewing people, and she meets up with this little girl in the building that's going to help her like meet the residents. And she's, you keep questioning that. They keep saying, well, why do you care about this building? So there must be some kind of history to this building where there was a lot of stuff going on. So it's like one of these ones I think it's going to play out in time over the 8 episodes, which are seems really cool. So I definitely need to watch the end of this one, because I think I'll probably binge it over the weekend and finish this, because it's one of those things I have a feeling once you get into it deep, you're going to just kind of want to finish it. Mm-hmm. And my brother, who is not a big horror fan at all, had texted me already. He's like, did you see this yet? Did you see it? And everyone's seeing it because I think the description said like podcast in it. Podcast New York or something.
It's based on a podcast.
Oh, so that's what it was. Oh, okay. All right.
That opens the door for Netflix to pick up our podcast as a series.
That's true. That is true. We have a couple of set goals. One is to get one of those to be on a commentary track on a DVD. We kind of pitched Dante for Fear Farm 3, but we don't know if if he
I'll
wants
talk
to pull. Yeah, I figured we got an in, and then we also want to be we want to have our own podcast on one of these things. Want to do a panel. We have very lofty goals for our little podcast that 12 people listen to, but it's really exciting.
Yeah, one day.
podcast.
So, and one quick thing before, and then well, actually, you know what? We'll do that one after. So, Emily, what have you watched lately? What any cool horror news you want to share with us?
Well, I went twice to see the new Scream.
Oh, I have not seen it yet. I know Tim got to see it.
Oh, I totally forgot.
Yeah,
about that.
I'm hoping to see it this weekend.
Yes, you should. No spoilers, of course. But I had very high hopes, and I wasn't let down. It was a great. I loved everything about it. It was funny. It was very reminiscent of the original Scream, very 90s. A lot of tie-ins, I thought they did a great job. And I loved the usage of practical effects that they did. I thought it was
nice. Okay.
Yeah,
not that I need to be sold on it, but that just kind of cemented it.
I've refrained from talking about it because I've been trying to save it for if we do a roundtable on it. But I will say that I didn't tell Brian this, but it was kind of funny because it was all filmed in Wilmington. And so I was very aware of where they were driving. And so it was freaking me out because they were driving opposite directions down the same street, but supposedly we're driving
funny.
They're driving miles and miles. I'm going, they're literally going around the block. What are they doing? Usually they'll film like some of it in Southport and some of it down in South Carolina. But this movie was so isolated to parts of town, I really knew that it just stuck out to me, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe and then they're talking to Nev Campbell, and she's supposedly in this whole other part of the country, and I go, that's like literally 2 blocks from where those people were just driving. So it was pretty funny.
Nevertheless, Tim is probably not going to be invited for this commentary track when this comes out of Blu-ray.
No, because I'll be
giving all the sequels.
Again, I'm trying not to say anything about it, but I agree with Emily. Spoiler alert. I agree with Emily.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see it this weekend. It's just the last weekend was tough. I had my family over, so we didn't really get a chance to really sneak out at to the movies. Especially now, it's nice because in our area, apparently the cases are now hit the peak and are plummeting again for Omicron. So hopefully, if feel a little safe. I've only been to the movie theater. I know Emily's gonna laugh because she's been there 100 times to the theater already. I've been only to one movie since the COVID started, and that was Spider-Man.
I'll tell you, Brian, we might have got lucky, but we went to see Scream on a Saturday night, and there was literally 6 people in the theater.
Oh wow.
It was when I went twice. When I went the first time, I sat in the balcony and it was just me and my friends in the balcony. And then the second time I saw it, the same. There was 6 people, and I leaned over to my buddy who I saw it with, and I was like, I am shocked that there is nobody here. But again, we kept our masks on. We didn't have anything to eat. Whatever. It was a very COVID. We kept that in mind, but there was no way that I was going to see that in theaters.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna I was worried to go last week, I think, because Long Island is very been very non-compliant as of late, to put it mildly. So I saw, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go the opening weekend but I'll probably go this weekend. I'll be okay. But definitely it's weird when I went back to theater. It's like I never left, and it wasn't anything that it didn't feel weird once I was in there, it was I think because I went with, it was when I was in California, we went with Julie's family, and we all went as a big group, and I was we've done that before. So it kind of maybe it just felt okay. And maybe it felt since I was on vacation, it was different.
Sure.
I didn't have to worry. Maybe I could maybe the COVID wouldn't find me because it's maybe it's geo-coded to where you live. I don't know. But,
it doesn't cross state lines.
Yeah, maybe the California one would say, oh, no, there's enough of Californians there. We'll let you get it back in New York. So maybe it was like that, but I don't know.
Oh, it was nice. Our local theater, the guy that owns it, Olivia knows the guy that owns it, and he loves movies. He's a great manager of this theater, and he even turned when the pandemic first started, or when the vaccines first came out. He actually. And the theaters were all closed. He actually turned it into a vaccination center.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we had thousands of people get vaccinated in the lobby of the theater because he turned it into a vaccination place. But when we went in there, it was like the place was spotless. You could probably eat off the floor. I mean, so he's really done a great job of making it feel safe. And so I have no problems going back to that particular theater. And it's one of those too that it's on a different side of town that's actually closer to me, but it's not as like heavily trafficked as the bigger theater in town. So it's really a nice place to go because it's usually not like wall to wall people. So
that's good. I figured you should by now, with being a famous podcast host out of Wilmington, you should have just been able to walk in and like they'd like kind of led you to your private sector.
No, I even wear my Civil War shirt. They don't say anything.
Yeah, they're nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
Well, Brian, when you do finally see it, let me know. Let us know.
Oh yeah. No, you guys, you will be the first group to find out. I will be texting you right away. So we should mention, we did have a very successful Saint Maud Blu-ray giveaway contest. Of course, for Tim and I. We apologize to people that won that may not be able to necessarily play the complete Blu-ray, but you will get the digital copy with it because everyone that won from the UK or Scotland. And
every single one. It was crazy.
Every one of them, 5 for 5. So we had,
and it's a region Blu-rays. A only. Now some Blu-rays are region free. This one actually is region A. So if you guys can't play it, you either have to have a region free player or you could use the digital code. I mean, I didn't, we thought about, because we forgot to even mention that in the contest.
Yeah, I didn't even think, it didn't even dawn on me because I didn't think it's like bad enough. Like I was wondering if we had listeners or people that followed us, like let alone in the United States, let alone like
we actually
in other
have
countries.
We actually have the UK is actually our second biggest market.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah, we actually have quite a few UK listeners. And
we might need to cater our content a little more.
I know. I didn't even think about it. I think there's a lot of podcast listeners in the UK, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are going to get mailed out this week. I was going to mail them out this week, but we're about to get this huge winter storm. So
we're getting it too near you. Yeah, it came from you. It's just like last week. It's coming from you to us. So
so I've got them. I mean, I've got them packaged, addressed, ready to go. So I'm going to try to get them out as quickly as possible for you guys that are waiting on them. But we'll
But it was a successful first contest. We had a lot of entries, which is pretty cool.
And big thanks to the folks behind that provided those Blu-rays for the contest. That was nice.
That was awesome. Okay, so now to the task at hand to discuss Emily's favorite film of all time. Now,
all right. So I guess we'll go through the details here. Let me butcher some names while I'm at it.
Yeah.
Okay. The movie is The Visitor. Original title is Stridulum.
Yeah.
Stridulum,
which I think means visitor.
Yeah. Who knows? 1979, directed by Giulio Paradisi. Starring Mel Ferrer as Dr. Walker, Glenn Ford as Detective Jake Durham, Lance Henriksen as Raymond Armstead. It's got a great cast.
It does. It really does.
John Huston as Jersey Kolsowicz, Joanne Nail as Barbara Collins, Sam Peckinpah as Dr. Sam Collins, Shelly Winters, which I've got a Shelly Winters story for you, as Jane Phillips, and Paige Connor as Katie Collins. And the synopsis here is: the soul of a young girl with telekinetic powers becomes the prize in a fight between forces of good and evil. But that's not the description that you need to hear.
No, I put this one. This is a first. So, Emily, you've listened to our show before. We usually give the official IMDb synopsis, which Tim just read. But then I found this other one that I had to put on because I want to hear Tim read this one, which was like,
do you want me to read it? Okay.
Yeah, I think you should read it. It's an official synopsis by someone else.
Okay. So here's here's the real synopsis.
Yes.
John Huston stars as an intergalactic warrior who joins a cosmic Christ figure in battle against a demonic
I knew he would be able to get through it.
Against a demonic 8-year-old girl and her pet hawk. while the fate of the universe hangs in the balance. Multidimensional warfare. Pre-adolescent profanity. That's great. Yeah. And brutal avian attacks combined to transport viewers to a state unlike anything they've ever experienced, somewhere between hell and the darkest reaches of outer space.
Yeah, it was by Draft House Films.
That's like the best synopsis.
I know whoever they are, I want to have them synopsis everything. I want them to take everything that goes literally. I want them to compose the answer to the question when someone says, "So how was your day?" And I want them to transcribe it for me. I'm going to tell them the facts and I want them to cultivate it like that.
This movie,
I mean, that was
man.
a great synopsis. That really nailed it.
It did,
really
right?
does.
Like now, hearing the first one, you'll be like, okay. But hearing that, tell me you did not want to like run to the nearest streaming service to find
So-
this.
When I first watched this movie, I was, of course, taken aback by all the WTF-ness of the whole thing. When I watched it back the second time, I was really watching it with a critical eye. And I think the reason this movie works is because it has a cast of really serious award-winning actors that are not playing this thing for laughs. They're playing this thing straight. This whole movie is played straight. There is no campiness to it, which is crazy. This movie on paper should have been like, these people should have been phoning this thing in the entire time, and they are not. Like, everybody's taking this perfectly serious, and even the editing, which is weirdly done in places. Like, I don't know how anybody understood what was going on in that basketball game. Because like half the time, like one team would have possession of the ball and then travel down the court, and the other team was passing it. And I'm like, what's going on here? Because
And did you notice that the time clock is very suspect because one team has like 7 possessions to tie the game in a matter of 6 seconds. Now, I don't know. I don't claim myself to be a basketball aficionado. Out of the 4 major sports, it's probably the one I watched least. But I've been to enough games and played enough times to know that literally it takes 3 seconds just to kind of compose a play, let alone get down the court and score 7 points. And these were not like 2 3-pointers and a foul. These were like all like 2-point shots and things were going on. And it was just, it was crazy because like the crowd's all into it, not thinking anything's of it. And like, and the best part though to me is that like the announcer in it is the guy that like I know from New York sports radio. He's an actual sports announcer, and his name is Steve Summers. He's the one that's interviewing him, you know, and he's like, come on, you can tell us because, and that's exactly the way he said. He comes on and he used to do overnights like on WFAN, and like that was his whole shtick. And he used to do this, like he's like a total like I fell, you know, like fell right into his trap because he's like, you know, this Jewish guy, and you know, I'm a Jewish guy, so I love the thing. He's like, hello, and how you be? Is the fan New York, you know? And he'd do this whole thing, and he'd call his wife like the Hawker. He'd have like these funny names, and actually, one of his biggest fans was Jerry Seinfeld, who used to call into the show under the name Jerome from Queens. Or Jerome from Long Island. I'm sorry, Jerome from Long Island. And he would actually call, and because he was such a big fan of his. So sorry, I had to just say that. But yeah, this and so Emily, what did you think when you started this movie after like Tim's like rave things, and then you see this basketball scene? Yeah,
we totally glossed over the crazy space Christ and intro.
Oh yeah, like
so Emily, if you want to talk about that,
right? Blanyani.
Well, okay, so yeah, well, I'm gonna do a little jump and then I'll answer your question. But yeah, so the 3 of us have a group chat or whatever where we'll talk about horror things mainly and this and that. And so yeah, Tim was like, Emily, do me a favor, you have to watch this movie. Please watch this movie. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Tim has never been like so adamant about like you need to watch this thing. Please watch it. About it. So I was like, done. I think like that night or the next day I watched it. And my initial oh my gosh, my initial thought was when it started, I was like, bald children. Man with long blonde hair, like Jesus like figure, what is happening? Okay, he's telling this crazy story kind of I immediately was like, oh my gosh, Tim, you were not wrong. This is incredible already. But I want to go off of the basketball thing real quick. So the thing that made me laugh throughout this whole movie was like the long edit, like the long scenes, like that basketball scene, just why did it need to be that long? And then the other one was the ice skating scene towards the end that just went on. But it was so, I don't mean to get ahead of myself, and we'll probably talk about this, but I just, like you said with the crowd at the basketball scene, like they're so into it, this and that. And so then when Katie, the possessed little girl, was like ice skating around, all those boys were just like laughing and then running into each other and then like, haha, and then chasing her around the ice skating rink, haha, laughing. And then out of nowhere, flew into windows or something.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah, like that's what like I think when Tim mentioned the choice of editing, it's like, and it's like when you're watching that movie, you know, you like even from the beginning, you know, when you see the bald kids and the blonde Yanni, character standing there talking. And first of all, he had plenty enough hair to hair these kids, I guess. They could have given them not to be bald, but I guess that's part of it. But then, and then when you get to Katie gets introduced at this basketball game, you really don't know why she's there. You just all of a sudden you see this little blonde girl come with these like high definition, like flat screen, like sunglasses that are bigger than her whole head. And she just walks in and you don't know what it is, but then she makes eye contact with, I guess, the star player on the other team that supposedly got injured, I guess, and gets taken out. So then they're playing this basketball game, and you could obviously tell which team, like that Lance Hendrickson owned. He's the team that the Atlanta team, and they come back and they're trying to win. But then, like, basically, this part in terms of editing, right? It literally like 4 seconds on the clock, and the other team gains possession. In the time, even though it's in slow motion, in a matter of 4 seconds, they manage to move around, like look for a guy to open pass to a guy. Then he manages to do this like over his shoulder pass to the other guy who you think is just gonna, okay, I'm like, all right, it's 1 second. I'm like thinking it's like the game. I'm like, shoot it, No, he dribbles all the way down the court in slow motion, and yet the clock still goes like back to 3 seconds. Like it didn't move. I mean, I know that's for dramatic effect, but as a sports fan, this was giving me anxiety.
We got to talk about the basketball for some reason inexplicably exploding.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened there. And then all of a sudden, like the crowd makes no mention of the basketball hoop just exploded with sparks.
Right.
I don't know what was going on there. What did he make the goal? Did he not make the goal?
No, he didn't. It exploded before. I guess that's what lost the game. But like, wouldn't you think that'd be a bigger thing in the world? I mean, literally, the 48,000 people just witnessed an exploding basketball to basically give their team victory.
That lost the game.
That lost the game for that other team. And like, it's not in the papers anywhere. There's no one worried. Like in New York, at least I know if one guy misses a shot in the Knicks, he's crucified for the rest of his life and run out of town. This guy explodes the basketball and you didn't know hide nor hair of the mention of it,
Okay, can I go on a crazy tangent? But
yes.
the blonde Space Christ made me think of this. Did I ever tell? And I may have not even told Brian this story. Did I ever
that
tell
needs
you
a
guys?
Beer name, by the way. Tell me that's not a great name for beer. Blonde Space Christ.
It's a blonde pale ale.
It is.
Yeah, I like it.
There you go.
Did I ever tell you guys about the time I went to an actual hell house? Do you know what a hell house is?
No.
Did not. Oh, no.
A hell house is a haunted house put on by a church, like super religious, to scare you like about going to hell. So I went to one of these, and I'm not disparaging anybody that's religious or anything, but it's just a weird story. So my mom said, hey, I hear there's like this church is doing this like crazy haunted house thing for Halloween. Instead of Halloween, they're doing a hell house. I was like, okay, he's like, do you want to go? I was like, sure, why not? I like doing things just to see what it is, So we go in and they like make us fill out like, like churches do, like put your name on the thing. It's you're a visitor. And I'm like, okay, so we put our name on the thing. And so we go in this, and they were taking us in small groups for this thing. And this was the most elaborate freaking thing I've ever seen. So we walk in, and like we're in like the lobby of a movie theater. Like there's a concession stand, and there's this thing, and you stop in there, and there's like this whole scene plays out. And there's these kids that are hanging out at the movies, and one of the girls decides that she's going to go off with her friend, and they're not going to stick together or anything. So I'm like, where is this going?
Yeah.
Well, then the girl ends up, long story short, the girl ends up getting kidnapped. So now you go into a room, and she's tied to a chair, and there's this dude making sexual advances at this girl.
Oh my God.
And I'm going, what in the hell did I just get myself into? So now they're like threatening her sexually. And I'm going, this is a church, right?
I know.
So there's this whole thing. So then we go into this next, I mean, I'm talking about, these are like 10-minute theatrical productions we're watching in each room. So then we go into the next room, and apparently the sexual harassment guy gets killed and has gone to hell, right? And now like there's like a devil like stabbing him with a pitchfork.
What?
And so then we go to another room, and there's like this preacher, and I'm sitting there like there's like 20 of us right in here, right in this group, and the preacher's like, Tim, can you please come up here? And I'm like,
Oh, they wrote you down. That's like the ET trick.
Yeah, like he wrote our names down because we had it on our visitor card. He's like, Tim, could you please come up here? And he I went up there and he goes, are you going to heaven? Or are you going to hell? And he's like asking me all these questions. And I'm like, oh my God. So it ends up that I'm going to heaven, I guess. So I get put into this other room, and I swear it was just like that scene in the movie. It was an all white room.
Bald kids?
Like, no bald kids. Thank God. All white room. There's like people dressed like angels in there. And there's this dude that looks just like Jesus, or what you would think Jesus would look like.
Okay.
Yeah. And he like comes up to every single person, and he's like, looks like straight into your eyes. And he's like, welcome to heaven, my child. And he's like taking our hand and
that
like
sounds
staring.
creepier than the other room.
It was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen.
Oh
And
my
like, and like we got out of there, and I was like, that is the most effed up crazy thing I've ever seen in my life. It was so weird, but it was like incredibly well done. I mean, like elaborately well done, but it was just a weird subject.
I think I wish they would have done that as like a, like I was like at my temple, like, when I was a kid growing up, like, like that would have been like, if they would have done one there, it would have been just like one room full of guilt. Then the other room would have them trying to feed you like too much food that you didn't want, like my grandmother would. But that sounds really like frightening. Like you almost had to like, you should have went back again and like changed it up, like, like said you were bad and then see what happened.
Yeah, just like, if you preacher.
I know.
See if the devil would have stabbed me with a pitchfork or something.
Yeah, like you go through the haunt, you get the multiple endings. You need to see all of them to really give us a review.
Anyway, sorry for that tangent, but that whole, like, I was having like flashbacks when I saw that Jesus figure like in the bright room and stuff. I was like, oh, this is like Hell House again.
Yeah, no, that was worth it. I think we needed to hear that.
There's just something though about it back, like in The Visitor, like that opening scene, that I know it wasn't meant to be creepy, but that was like, it was that man talking to those children like with all their bald heads in the same exact outfit, this and that. It's just, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
It was very cult-like, very cultish. Yeah.
See, I'm wondering though, by us seeing it now, right? Like knowing all that's happened in history and knowing what all we've been exposed to. Like I wonder back then if we would have seen it where like things weren't like, what they were in like the time, but like, you always wonder when you see an old movie like that, you're like, well, we're interpreting it like with a lot of more knowledge of like what society is like back then. I'm wondering if we would have found it. I mean, I think it would have been as creepy as hell. I'm not trying to take the creep factor away from it, but I'm wondering if we would have been like, had just a little different view of it, like, well, okay.
Yeah.
It's a little creepy, but he's probably just,
right, I
wonder to the bald kids.
How many people were like, "Oh, what a nice, like, kind guide for this." Like, "Oh, wow!" But you're like, that should not be happening.
Yeah. Well, especially when like he's like, and then he like looks like he's telling that story. What was the way I wrote it down when he kept saying mutant? When he kept saying mutant, like he was saying like the mutant. Like whenever someone mispronounces a word like so off like that you hear all the time, I'm like, why? Why is he saying it like that?
Literally, I almost spit out myself.
I know. I wish this was a video podcast because, like, both Tim like bolts back in laughter and Emily just like propels forward with her drink in laughter on that one. But that would have been funny to see.
Okay, can we move on to the birthday party scene?
Yeah,
this was my favorite scene. This is what you and I talked about.
This was the best thing ever.
Oh my! This was my favorite scene.
Oh, wait, can I say one thing before we jump on there? I have a question. John Huston's character, right? Jersey, right? He's from outer space, right? We've all established that based on that.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
I ask you this. Why does he travel commercial air? He comes off a plane with a passport and it says he's never been to the United States before. So I'm like, okay, no kidding. Why wouldn't he just kind of like go like and just appear? Is he like is his alien like did the alien get travel delays also that he had to just catch what he could get, like he couldn't get on the thing? I'm just looking at that, I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's an alien. He literally just came through the terminal and he's like going through customs. I'm like, what's going on?
Hilarious. It's just trying to fit in, you know?
Yeah.
Just like
I guess that's true. It's just like, who wants to go through customs in an airport? Like, if you could avoid that, I'd like become an alien just so I could avoid all these travel
The outer
hiccups we all
space-
have.
Brian, outer space takes a lot of frequent flyer miles. Like you have to,
It
you
does.
have to start earning those. I mean,
That's true. Yeah,
whenever you can.
Virgin Galactic, it's not a thing yet. Right?
Oh, okay. So the birthday party
Yeah.
scene. So Katie's having a birthday party, and I still haven't quite figured out this whole thing. But she unwraps one of the presents, which is a gun.
That was supposed to be a bird, mind you. We saw what
Yeah.
was supposed to be in
It
there.
was supposed to be a bird. It was supposed to be a bird shaped like a gun.
Yeah,
I guess.
a gun bird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, a gun bird. And then in the best scene of the entire movie, Katie opens it up and with delight throws it at her mother and goes, "Look, mommy," and throws this gun and shoots her in the back. And it's the best scene of any movie I've seen in the past 5 years, probably.
so chaotic. Okay, so another thing about this movie though that I love so much is the just absurd score. It's
Yeah.
and then the score is like ridiculously intense and like just over the top. Gosh, and so yeah, so then like, oh look, mommy, look at this, and they're running, and then it's like chaos, and she shoots. Oh my gosh. My
The best
favorite-
description I saw of this score I read was Goblin, Goblin who did Suspiria.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was if Goblin had spilled beer on a Casio. That was
Oh, I
the best
saw-
description I read.
I did. Where did I see that? I saw that too, on like a description. Well,
Yeah,
you
it was-
noticed there was one part. I swear to God, it sounded exactly like they took it from Friday the 13th. There's a sequence where she's running. Oh yeah, in the hospital montage when they're all walking and they keep cutting back to like her and the medical thing and everything. It go. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's a gymnastics scene. It's going. This was like. Dun, 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 dun. If you go back and watch that, and then like close your eyes, and you could totally picture the original Friday the 13th sequences with her, Jason and like the music is going.
Okay, yeah, I will. I don't know.
Well,
if
actually,
I-
it might be actually technically Friday the 13th part 2. I should say it was. I remember because it went with Jason walking. So it was. And it almost sounds like I almost went to look to see if it was Harry Manfredini did it, but yeah, it's and then there were some like these triumphant scores that did not fit this movie. You would think it was like it was trying to do like almost like a commercial for something, like
But you know,
Yes.
this one had the trappings of an Italian 70s horror film, but it's like an all-American cast or all British American cast. So it's kind of weird. Like I would expect that in like a purely Italian horror movie, the crazy out of sync soundtrack and the editing stuff. So it's kind of like this weird mixture where you have like this big name cast but like all the Italian directing style. It's kind of interesting.
Why I'm so surprised that when you said it was critically well received, because it just nothing seems to fit together. Everything just seems so like we're gonna throw this and we're gonna throw this and now we're gonna do this crazy scene and now we're gonna do that and now it's normal. Now we're just having a conversation. It's like it just didn't fit right to me.
Yeah, the editing's so outlandish. Like I don't know how anybody followed what was going on in this movie the first time they watched it.
It's hard the
certainly
first
did.
time. It took me twice. Like, and there was even I think even the. Like after I had watched it, I was prepping for the show, and I was reading like the trivia and stuff, and I saw something. I'm like, oh wait, that happened. And I remember it because it was so obscure. And then like again, kind of sticking with in music in terms of audio. Why does Katie have like that accent, but like no one else in the entire movie has like?
Yes, that's the other thing. Like I would have thought for Katie, she's an evil kid, or supposedly this evil kid, like she would have done the evil kid thing, or she would have talked in this like monotone or weird voice, and she's like this little country bumpkin.
Yeah,
she's got this southern accent, and it's weird because like nobody else in the whole movie has a southern accent,
and they're in Atlanta. So it's like, but I mean, I guess there's a little bit of and I guess a twang sometimes, but like hers was like especially creepy when she's going through the press, she's like, from Mama, from Auntie, from Grandma. She's got like this weird thing, and it's like, it literally is the creepiest birthday scene since the Omen. I swear, like there's nothing like.
Oh, that's another one. The Omen. It took a lot from the.
Yes,
Omen.
yes, there was. Yeah,
it felt a lot like
Omen things,
felt very Omen-y.
But
yeah, we got to talk about Katie because she is like So what we were talking about before we started recording, like she's now a makeup guru. Like she has like her own eyelash place or something. But
Really?
I'm not going in there.
No, I am. I'll report back.
I know
to
you got to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's out by you anyway, so you can report.
But yeah, like
back.
she did really well in makeup and stuff. But yeah, so I thought she was awesome though. But like she's a good child actor. Like in this movie, she's really, really good. But I just the country twang to her voice just cracks me up because it just does not, like everything else in this movie, it doesn't fit with anything. But it's somehow charming. So I don't know. She also has a pet hawk. Like what 8-year-old has a pet hawk?
Maybe she was waiting for a Hogwarts letter. I don't know. That was her choice.
So you could tell when I was rewatching this afternoon, I was literally dying laughing because I had totally forgotten there's a scene near the end where the mom is inexplicably getting chased by this hawk now. That she's lived with all these years, but now this hawk's like trying to kill her, and she's rolling away from the wheelchair as she slams the door behind her to keep the hawk out. And the hawk's trying to open the door with the doorknob.
The door's like opening, like rattling on the other side.
And I texted Brian today and I was like, I just realized this bird's trying to open the door with the doorknob, which is cracking me up. I'm a bird trying to open a door. Like now my cats have opened doors, but I've never seen my bird trying to open a door.
Yeah, like Obi barrels through a door as long as it's not sealed, he'll just pop it open. But yeah, I haven't seen a bird. This must be part of the brutal avian attacks as mentioned in the
brutal avian attack. Definitely some brutal avian attacks.
Well, that and then also, I mean, I don't know. Can we spoil? I don't.
Oh yeah, we can spoil.
We have a rule as long as the movie is more than like a year old, we're spoiling.
Okay. Yeah. So the end when everyone is getting attacked by these birds, and the mom's thrown down the stairs, the birds are attacking. Katie's hair is going everywhere. And I love that they use this same shot like 3 times in that bird attack scene at the end when they're attacking Katie. It's like her hair's going crazy, then it's something else, and then it goes back in her. It's the same hair going crazy. The bird's attacking Katie, and it goes to something like they use it like 3 times. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and actually, I know we're kind of jumping all around, but another part at the end cracks me up is when and it was an effective scene because it worked as a surprise. Like when Shelly Winters finally opens the door after she thought it was the bird opening it, and she's like, "Don't worry, I'm here. Nothing will harm you ever again. I got you." Next thing you know, Katie comes flying past her, grabs her, it goes super speed and propels her mom into the wheelchair through the fish tank.
That's right. Yes.
Oh my God. Can we talk about Shelly Winters? Because I have a Shelly Winters thing.
Yes.
So when I was very young, I used to watch Pete's Dragon on HBO all the time. You remember Pete's Dragon?
Yeah.
And of course, Shelly Winters plays the matriarch of that hillbilly family that Pete runs away from. And this movie scared me so bad when I was younger that my mom, I still remember this to this day. I was watching it for probably the 20th time it had come on HBO, and I would cry every time the hillbilly family was chasing Tim
had a rough childhood. He gets thrown into that church house of horrors, and then now he's tormented by Shelly Winters.
Yeah, so I would cry every time she came on screen because she scared the crap out of me. She's scary in that movie. And so my mom would make me turn the movie. So I remember her coming in one time and going, "Tim, just turn the movie off if you're gonna cry every time you watch it." And I'm like, no, make her let me watch it because I still wanted to see it. But I have had this mental trauma about Shelly Winters ever since then. And I don't care what she's in, even if she's not dressed as a hillbilly, she kind of scares me to this day. So even she made me uncomfortable, even in this movie. In this movie, she plays a nice person.
Yeah.
She's a good guy. And even in this movie, I was very uncomfortable in the scenes that Shelly Winters was in. I still carry mental trauma from that. It's crazy.
Did you like root against her in the Poseidon Adventure? Did you like want her to drown?
I can't watch her in any movie. Like any movie I see her in, like it, like I get like this like sick to my stomach feeling. Like I'm like triggered by it. Like isn't that crazy? All from the Pete's Dragon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see Emily plotting like she's gonna like do like sneak attack Shelly Winters things towards Tim.
I would never do that.
But yeah, that's why Shelly.
I know it's so the twinkle. She's like, but maybe.
Oh.
Oh
No,
my God.
Brian's going to try to find the most horrifying Pete's Dragon pictures.
Oh, I
Send it to
totally
me.
am. I'm Googling Shelly Winters Pete's Dragon, and you're getting them all. In fact, I'm going to use one of the apps that like animate them, like I'm going to animate Shelly
I
Winters.
honestly don't know that I've watched the original Pete's Dragon since I was a kid because of that. I don't think I've watched it.
Oh my God. Poor.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so funny. Yeah, well, Shelly Winters is kind of even though she's good in this, she is on the creepy side. I mean, she comes in like a bizarro Mary Poppins with this like 12-foot bird cage, which has got to be some kind of foreshadowing that with the birds. And and then she right off the bat, she's like your kid's evil or something. Like, oh my God, she doesn't cut corners.
Can we talk about the girl? Like, can we talk about the pre-adolescent profanity? Because
Oh
that's
my God,
another.
that's I know you guys have your favorite scenes. I think that might have been my favorite interaction in the whole thing is her and Glenn Ford.
Yes.
Like I can't even remember the dialogue, but it was like one was like just like
He says something to her, and she's like says, "Come closer," and she like whispers something.
Oh, she's where is the something? I asked for an item. She goes, "Oh, where's the gun?" And she's like, "I'll tell you where it is. It's up your ass." Like the like voice or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I
rewound that twice today and rewatched it because I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, and then it's so funny because she's yelling at him, and I'm like. And it's so funny because nowadays, I mean, this part's not really funny to vision, but you see an older man like kind of harassing a young girl. You kind of like, all right, that's a little creepy. And she's like calling him out for it. She's like, no, you're just a child molester. You're trying to you're just doing all these weird things, And like he's like, well, let me tell you. He goes, do you want me to wait for you after class? I'm like, whoa, you're not helping. Like, come on, Glenn Ford, you know better than that. But it was it was like, but that scene was hilarious because that was totally like the what was it called, pre-adolescent to profanity. Yeah, that was descriptive to a T. But we definitely need to talk about Emily's favorite scene with the ice skating.
Oh my God! So
go ahead, Tim.
The people that haven't seen it yet, but if you haven't seen it, you should have definitely seen it before you listen to this podcast. But should have put a somewhat spoiler warning. But well, the first thing that struck me was they did a really I don't know if that was her skating or some kind of stunt. It had to be a stunt double, right? It had to be like a professional skater.
Yeah, I was hoping in the trivia would say something about it, but it didn't.
Because she was doing. I mean, whoever was doing the skating was doing a really good job, like dodging random kids that were throwing themselves at her.
Yeah,
but
what was that? Well, okay, sorry. Finish your
she's out on the skating rink. I'm trying to set the stage for people so they'll vision this. But she's out on the skating rink skating, and there's like all these boys like basically harassing her and like chasing her and like throwing themselves at her. But somehow like when they throw themselves at her, they like ram into the wall. Right. And so there's one point where she grabs their hands and like you would do like a fun little spin around type thing. And she slings, I couldn't tell. It was like she's slinging them off of the balcony or slinging them through a plate glass window, like super strength. Yeah. Like now she's got super strength. I don't know.
Did you notice? I don't know if this was like a total like joke by the sound person or intentional, but that first sequence where she knocks down like 4 people in a row, it's the sound of like bowling pins getting a strike. It's like
no, it's
and
not.
I heard it this time, and it was maybe because I had my headphones on and I heard it clearer. But I'm like, I actually rewound. I'm like, wait a minute, is that? Did I just hear that right? And it sure to go watch that scene again. It's when there's like the 4 guys are lined up and they go. It's like this exact sound effect you'd hear if someone bowled like a strike. And I'm like, oh, that is awesome. Whoever did, even if that was not intentional, it was a joke. Like that's
oh my
perfect.
God. I gotta go back and rewatch that now.
Just don't understand the point of that scene, to be honest. Like the boys were all giggling, and then like Chase, like I don't get it. I just truly I don't get it. It was hysterical to me.
Yeah, no, and it's like, first of all, the mom just leaves her alone. The mom's like is going to a doctor's appointment. She's just like, okay, I'll see you later, knowing that her kid is like just like, I mean, she just literally shot her in the back. Then she lets the kid go off.
Can we talk about that a bit? Like, there's never been any repercussions from her literally shooting her mom in the back. Like, nobody says anything about. I think the cop says something about the gun. Like, they do kind of investigate.
Yeah, there's like a little like montage of them investigating, like the aunt.
It's like dropped. Like nobody cares that somebody gave a child a gun. Like the mom never says like there's no interaction between the mom and the kid. It's just like accepted that, hey, you paralyzed me for life. Oh well,
Right.
life goes on.
Oh yeah, and even her gymnastics coach, remember, she's like, well, how's your mom? She goes, well, she didn't die. And I'm like, that's it. that's all you said. I'm like, not traumatized at all, not shocked at all. Like, wouldn't you, like, this day and age, that, I'm sorry, but Katie would have been like, would have been pulled into some kind of hospital and kept there and interrogated repeatedly, not like left to go out and start like a 1-on-12 hockey fight, going on out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie, I mean, like, and it's funniest thing is the people that haven't seen it and are just hearing it, they're probably trying to piece together in their head this movie, and I'm like, even by doing that, they're probably as close as it is to watching it. That's how
we're giving you the experience, because as confused as you are right now is what you'll be like when you're watching this movie, because we're jumping around just like their editing jumps around. So
can we talk about what the bird that was supposed to be next to the gun where it went? We'd go like, I'm a pretty bird. I'm a pretty bird. It just kept repeating it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
this movie. Oh, it's
5 pages of notes I have on this movie. I swear to God, I'm just like,
it's hard to talk about on a podcast because it's like speechless. Like I don't know what to say. Like you have to be there.
Yeah, but like all these scenes like just end, right? Like the ice cream scene. Okay, they crash through the window, whatever. But then one of my other scenes that I laughed out loud at was, I can't remember who it was. Was it the sheriff? I don't remember, but they're driving in the car and then the hawk comes into the car.
Yeah.
And it's a 4-minute scene of just this bird attacking the man in the car. And again, I feel like they used the same shot 3 different times. And then, going down to, the traffic, weaving in and out of traffic, and then just flips over 100 times, whatever, and then like explodes. I just like, what? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that was funny too, is the car gets caught in a fence, like if you notice, and then remember the baseball players run over to help, and the one guy's like running with a bat. I'm like, is he gonna attack him or is he gonna help him? It looked like a mob scene.
I noticed several times in this movie where they use the same shot. Like I swear to God, there was one part where John Huston's like goes out to meet the aliens or whatever. I saw that same exact shot. I had to have seen it twice because I remember looking up and going, I just literally just watched this like a few minutes ago, and it was the same exact shot of him, like with the weird green screen behind him or whatever. I don't.
And I think what too is funny is all these crazy sequences too. There's like these lines of dialogue that you're like laughing at, that someone actually wrote this down into a script. Like one of this one was when eventually John Huston somehow becomes the babysitter later on. He gets like sent by the service into the babysitter. So you have this like aged old man in like this like one of those like khaki suits or something, and he shows up, and and like again, this is a common theme. You have these older people with the young kids in there, and so like Lance Hegner's like, do you think he's a child molester? And her response is, well, you're a cripple molester. I'm like, what? I was like, what? That's your retort to that?
Oh gosh. And I love that. Like he was so concerned. He was like, well, what happened to Nancy? And they're like, oh, I don't know. They just sent me. The agency just sent me. And he's like, okay, I guess. Like, and like, oh, okay. That's
the strange old man is babysitting my child. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, but the agency vets them. It's okay. No, they track. Yeah, and the best is he takes the money. He's only there like to just watch her, but he literally takes the money. And back then, isn't that expensive? $5 an hour for babysitting back in the 70s?
Probably.
That seems expensive. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Especially that kid. She's easily should have been like, I would have charged double
for her. Yeah,
especially because she cheated at Pong. I mean, but it's, but yeah, that's this thing. It keeps getting like crazy. Oh, another thing too is I noticed, how is the mother driving later in that scene?
I thought the same thing. I don't know.
She's
because there are people who are in wheelchairs who like can drive, but she's paralyzed.
Yeah,
right?
like that's what I'm saying. She doesn't have the movement of her legs, and they don't explain like she has a special car for it or anything.
No, just a normal old car.
Yeah, so I'm like always wondering why. Like I'm like I watched that back to see if I missed something, but then again, that whole sequence is weird because then the truck comes and like I guess kidnaps her.
Yeah, there's no resolution to any scene in this movie. Like you're constantly going, well, why didn't somebody notice that? Or why didn't somebody, like every scene in this movie just ends, like you said, it just ends abruptly and they just keep moving on.
Yes.
They don't ever address the repercussions of all these scenes that they're showing. There's never any, like, there's never even a line of dialogue like explaining, like, well, that was crazy how that basketball goal blew up. There's nothing like that.
No.
Never. It's just they just go with it.
Brian, you were saying just like how you couldn't believe how people wrote this dialogue. I had that moment when the mom went to go visit the ex-husband at his doctor's office, and the ex-husband is with a kid, and he's checking the kid out, and then he's like, okay, now I need to go speak with my ex-wife or something like that.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yes, I remember that.
Or something that I don't know if it was.
No, that was exactly it.
Like what? Why wouldn't you just leave like that? Oh my god.
Yeah, like why do you just say, excuse me, I gotta talk to someone? He goes, no, he's like, yes, I need to speak to my ex-wife about something now.
Yes. But then that scene with the two of them, the mom, he's like berating her and bitching her out. And then he was like, okay, I'll help you.
Yeah, he's like, why is he? I just hate that these things happen to you. I'm like, and he's listing off all like pretty much every nightmarish thing that's happened in the movie up until this point. I felt like you forgot out badgering ex-husband too on top of it. It's like,
right. Yeah, I thought you didn't want children.
I know. Yeah, it was so hard. It cracked me up too when he tells like the kid too, right? That CB goes, maybe I will tell your mom to get you some ice cream. How about 4 ice creams? It's like, I'm like,
oh my gosh.
What kind of doctor are you? You're basically telling this kid like, all right, we give 4 times the amount of sugar you're supposed to have. You'll be in here next week,
Yeah.
But, this is just, it goes great. And then I think what's crazy is that last like 15 minutes is just so like off the wall, like craziness. But I will say there's some cool stuff in there. Like I love like that Hall of Mirrors scene where she just like, I mean, that's a style, I guess, how to get through a Hall of Mirrors, right? Just smash every mirror so you can find your way out. It's just like smashing things.
Yeah, that was a cool scene, actually.
Yeah.
It's one of those too, like the ending of the movie, even after watching it twice, I still don't quite know what exactly happened. Like it's so chaotic, that ending, that whole like last 20 minutes. I still not entirely sure exactly what was going on there, other than the fact that somehow she's redeemed and basically turned into a bald cult child by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, and well, I guess like something like, I guess Shelly Winters is like, she knows what's going on. I guess you find out that's like a reveal. I guess
she had a evil child herself, apparently.
Right. Yeah, she did mention that. So I guess is her child like, I guess one of the bald kids? Are they trying to say that, or
I don't know.
I love how we got serious for a second to try and really decipher.
Yeah, so we're like trying to seriously analyze
ins and outs of this at this point, But yeah, no. But overall, though, I have to say though, this movie was, it's one of those ones that like is. I just looking at my notes. I'm like, I don't want to miss anything that I. But yeah, no, it's like it's one of these movies that it's just so much fun to watch.
It's not that it's so bad it's good. It's not like, when I think of it's so bad it's good, it's like poor production, or it's like laughably slow pacing. Yeah, it's not, something like. But this one, actually, the movie itself is entertaining. Like I never got bored during it. It's got a great cast. It's got some great actors in it. The production value is high for the time that it was. So, it doesn't fit the so bad it's good. It's like, it's just so weird it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like one that like you can't not enjoy at some level. You're gonna definitely enjoy it, whether you think it's so crazy that you like that you just got to tell people about it, or that just, I mean, the funny thing is there was some of the effects were good, like the one scene with the bird like picking the guy's eye out. I mean, that was close, and like you saw a lot of blood coming out. I'm like, that's, and I have an eye thing, and that freaked me out enough. So they did a good job.
I forgot you had an eye thing.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, and it's like it never fails that like we always seem to pick these movies with eye things in it. It's like I got eye things when things are floating around where they shouldn't be, and like when
fingers chopped,
fingers bent backwards or chopped, like that super deep movie. Just the trailer freaked me out where she's like sitting there and her finger goes, and I'm like, I can't.
What trailer was that?
It's super deep, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Shudder. We actually got the teaser, but we never got to the trailer for it, but we never got to watch it. But it's yeah, it's like it's supposedly it's on there, but like there's something, I guess I forgot what the premise is. I just know there's one sequence where the girl's like watching her hand and she's like this, and you just see the finger bend back the wrong way, and I'm just like, no. But I'm like it's like I can handle gore, but like stuff like that, just yeah. In your future movies, try not to do too many eye things.
I'll do my best.
No, I like it. It's like, as much as it freaks me out, I'm glad, because like I like to get things that, if you don't watch a horror movie that does something to you, then
So yeah, you guys need to check this one on the Shudder while it's still there. I really want the Blu-ray only just because I want to hear a commentary for this movie.
Yeah,
I've got to hear a commentary. I need somebody to explain this movie to me.
Yeah,
and
we all should take a pilgrimage one day, a trip to. We could go actually visit, that long staircase he goes down while she's skating and killing everybody, and
yeah,
like that still exists. That escalator supposedly is in the CNN headquarters in Atlanta right now.
Really?
No way.
Yeah. So you could, apparently in the trivia, it still exists.
Oh.
So we need to like all take a trip and like go down that. Like,
that's awesome.
Except literally, I'd probably fall down half 3 steps. That long. There's way too many opportunities for me to fall. Tim will tell you, there's not like a moment where I don't trip or fall.
No. That's part of the Brian experience.
It really is. It's like you have to
within
5 minutes. Yeah.
So Brian, you had an excellent beer pairing for this movie.
I did, and it's called Katie. Is the actual beer. And it's by Second Shift Brewing out of St. Louis, Missouri. 5.4% ABV. And listen to the description, because the end kind of fits this movie. It says, "Don't know what to call it besides a Brett beer. This one gets aged for 3 months in oak barrels with okay, I'm going to butcher this, Brettanomyces lambicus, a cool yeast that gives this beer wonderfully pretty aroma and a flavor that everyone better like it, or else I'll look you up and teach you a lesson." That's how this beer description ends.
Yes, that's great.
Right?
That
I think I need to call
her.
on Shelly Winters' ghost or something and have her protect me here.
No, don't say Shelly Winters' ghost. That's even more traumatizing to me.
There's Tim's horror.
Now I gotta imagine her as a ghost. Oh my
God.
Imagine
that. She's just floating around your office you're in right now, Tim, behind you, and you don't see it.
No.
Emily and I see it on the screen. You don't see it.
And we're just not saying anything, Tim. We're just not saying
anything.
I watch why we get like floods of listener Shelly Winters pictures now.
I know. Now once Cone hears about it, you're doomed.
Oh yeah, I'm done. I'll just send him octopus pictures though. So
that's true. Yeah, we have a friend, our good friend Steve Cone, who probably heard on the show a couple of times. He has this unusual fear of octopus. He can't anything with an octopus. He's terrified of. And even like the scene in like Popeye, like at the end of Popeye, where it was like this obviously horrible rubber octopus. He still does not like. So we have ammo for him. So
all right. Well, our triple threat last week, we were looking for an actor or actress, and the answer was Drew Barrymore.
Very timely.
Very timely. Yeah. Clue
and
number
she
one.
Spoiled it on her show. She gave one of our clues away.
Yeah, it's literally. Yeah, that's crazy. Clue number one. I have appeared many times as a host of Saturday Night Live. It was my first time that rewarded me with a specific distinction. So she's hosted 6 times to date. However, her first time, she was just 7 years old, earning her the title of youngest host in SNL history.
Yeah, and that's what she blurbed because she had Fred Savage on and they were talking about it. It was literally the day after I think we had put the clue out there, and I'm like, oh my God, literally, she's ruining our triple threat.
Clue number 2, I have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, as well as 3 other of my famous relatives. So Drew received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame February 3rd, 2004, joining her famous relatives Ethel Barrymore, John Barrymore, and Lionel Barrymore as recipients of that honor. And our last clue was, after learning of a specific legal process in a film role I had, I partook in that said process 6 years later in real life. So 15 years old, Drew Barrymore legally emancipated herself from her parents. In 2009, she told 60 Minutes that she had first learned such a thing was possible at age 9 when she starred in the movie Irreconcilable Differences, in which her character divorces her negligent parents.
I actually saw that movie in the theater.
I remember seeing that movie, but I had no clue she actually did that.
Yeah, pretty
That's
interesting.
crazy. Yeah.
That's also Sharon Stone was in that movie, really early. Sharon Stone.
All right, so this week we are looking for an actor or actress, and here are your clues. So listen carefully. Clue number 1: my first 2 acting roles were in TV series made from films of the same name. So to clarify, they were TV series made from films, and the TV series had the same name as the film they were made from. Clue number 2, I starred in 2 movies with the exact same name. And clue number 3, I am one of 5 siblings who have all acted.
I think this is an easy one. I gave everyone a nice softball on this one.
I think the clue number 3 is probably your best.
Yeah,
hint.
I think that one really, how many can you choose from on that one? So
Yeah, one of 5
but you will find
siblings.
that next week. But I think for a
Yes.
fan topic foo, I think Emily, you need to join in and join in this one. And you don't need to prepare really for this, because this is one of the things with this question is like, I see it. So I will say I have a bit of a head start, but this is something because when I get the file, I put it in and I add it onto our sheet here, but I only had about really only got to think about it for a few minutes. So, and I kind of had one that I always thought of anyway. But I'll let Tim read this. So what we do is when we get to question, just think of a cool answer and we start a discussion. What you probably know.
This one stumped me. Okay, so if you could recast, this is a question from Cody. If you could recast someone in one of your favorite horror movies, which character would you recast and who would you put in it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you want, I have one, so I could go first. And then to give everyone
I did think of one, but I'll let you go first, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now this is a very probably controversial one, only because, but I have a reason behind it. And only because obviously if this movie will be eventually remade, which it will, I'm sure of it, it will be remade. You might need to have this character depending on the way they go, if it's a full reboot of the series or not. And that's Friday the 13th. And so I'm saying if they decide to go back and do a full reboot where they include, the plot of the first one into this in a substantial manner, you're going to need to cast Pamela Voorhees. So my pick for this is going to blow everyone's mind, I think, because it's an icon from another franchise altogether. How do you imagine they put in for a new Pamela Voorhees, Jamie Lee Curtis?
Close to that.
Right?
Great.
Right? Especially she's got the short hair now. In real life, she's got that short hair. She's got that tough. She can play a little like crazy, that Laurie Strode, kind of, I'm gonna get my revenge. You kind of mess with my family. I'm gonna get you back. I think she would be amazing in that role. And then think about that. Then she could literally be an icon in Friday the 13th and Halloween.
Oh, that's great.
That's pretty good. That's better than mine, probably.
I don't know if I can top that. I'm still trying to think of one.
And I do have a backup
Okay.
should she not take it. And that is, of course, one of your favorites, Miss Barbara Crampton. I think would be amazing in that role too. But she'd be good in everything. Sure. There's nothing she can't do. So, but yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's a controversial one. I decided to go pretty crazy.
We're putting a lot of pressure on Emily. We got two
I know.
controversial.
I feel like I can't think of something. I have to think.
So I took it a little bit different, Brian. So you took it, it's kind of like if you did a full remake. I did it kind of from a perspective of like a fantasy version where we basically pluck somebody out of the original film and reinsert another actress.
Oh, okay.
In this case, an actress.
That's probably what Cody meant. I mean, I think because she said recast, but I'm kind of looking like,
Well, that would still work for yours. You could
Yeah.
still pluck modern day Jamie Lee Curtis and put her back in the
right.
original
I
Friday
can
13th.
still put her in that. Yeah.
So and she did say one of your favorite horror movies. So I was trying to pick a movie that is literally one of my favorite horror movies, and that would have to be The Shining.
Okay.
Now, here's where it's controversial. I can't replace Jack Nicholson. There's no way. But I think the character you could replace would be Wendy. Because as good as Shelley Duvall was, her character in that movie is really I hate to say pathetic. She's like really like just completely like run over the entire movie. Like she has really no real strength to her at all. So I was thinking, could we replace her with an actress that has a little more depth, maybe a little more strength? So I was thinking of one of my favorite actresses, which would be, and this is a crazy pick, but maybe like a Vera Farmiga.
Oh, yeah.
You think somebody that could maybe fight back against Jack Torrance a little bit, who has a little bit of that and has the range and like the really good, just the really good acting chops to like play against him in that movie.
That would be good.
Love her a lot.
Yeah, no, I like that one. I know it's tough because when you take you're taking our favorite horror movies. Usually, it's most likely it's going to be something iconic that everyone's used to. So it's kind of hard to.
And that one, I picked that one intentionally because that's a movie I don't want to touch because that's like my sacred movie.
So Tim likes to challenge himself,
but I wanted to challenge myself and say if I was forced to, who could I just like pluck out? I think it'd be interesting.
Honestly, where you were going, I thought you were going to say replace her with Shelly Winters, but but
she would make that movie 10 times more scary for sure.
No, you could replace her with the woman in the bathtub. Have her come out like that.
Yeah.
Nude ghost Shelly.
But she would just be in her Peach Dragon costume. Yeah, she just come out with the hillbilly hat and the dirt all over her face.
Yeah, just laughing at him. Okay, now we're gonna put Emily on the spot here. Now she was not prepared for this. But
you guys, I'm not, and I'm gonna let you down. So, because I don't know, but what I do like, and so this is a little bit of a cop out, so I do apologize. But what I do like is like gender flipping.
So that's totally on the table. Actually, that there's nowhere it says that you can't do that. So,
well, for example, I love that Jamie Clayton is going to be the new Pinhead. I'm very excited for that. I think that's. I love when that happens, right? And so oh gosh, I don't know, you guys. This is hard for me because so my favorite horror movie, right, is High Tension. And so but that's like a French movie. So if they were to make it, I guess US, I don't know. I really like Samara Weaving, and I think she would do a great job as the lead. But I know that they're remaking Silent Night, Deadly Night, which I'm putting out into the universe. I want to be a part of so badly. But I would love. It doesn't really make sense, I guess. But I would love. I just love when they gender flip. I would love to see the Santa Claus killer as a crazy female and not I don't know, not being cast again. You know what I mean? But
that would be there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually a great idea because remember, it's who you the question really is which character you would recast. Doesn't say you have to have the same. Tim and I basically went with we went kind of more almost like a stunt casting kind of a thing. I mean, I definitely went stunt casting. Tim went a little more creative. So you actually took that to a point that I probably didn't even think of. I was so in the question that I didn't even think that option.
That is a cool idea. And we could also cast Shelly Winters as Leatherface.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine that?
If we want to do the gender flip.
Oh my God. Someone needs to do those deep fakes with for Tim.
Oh my God.
Who has a good thing about it, but everything is Shelly Winters in Tim's favorite horror movies. Imagine her as Jaws coming out of the water, to it.
Yes. You know what my cop out answer was going to be? Was to replace all the Jasons with Kane Hodder, for all of them. He's just Kane Hodder's Jason in every movie.
That works though. That still works.
That's kind of a cheap answer. But
I feel like I had a answer. I don't know. I felt I didn't.
No, yours was actually really good. Actually, it was you took it to a better level than I actually thought. I didn't even think about that. I got so granular to the question. I sometimes get too into the specifics of a question, and I'm like, okay, cast, person, something. I'm like going right to my favorite horror movie, right to who. I mean, think about it. If I would have imagined, like, I took Mrs. Voorhees, unless I made it like, Mr. Voorhees, but then it wouldn't have the same.
Yeah.
That is one where I think being the mother was more important, like. I think
Jason's a mama's boy for sure.
Yeah, like he has to. It has to be the mom.
I'm super excited about the female Pinhead too.
Yeah, that'll be really
awesome.
cool.
Well, I really like Jamie Clayton. I mean, she's been in a bunch of things. I don't know if you guys watched The L Word, but she had like a prominent role in The L Word. And like, I love her, I adore her, and so super excited for her.
She was in something else I
it.
saw too, because when they first announced her, they were going through a bunch of her stuff, and I was like, wow, she's been in a number of shows that I knew that I just didn't, I haven't seen them all, but I knew about though. So I'm like, what is? But I can't think of the other one they mentioned. But we mentioned that I think last week we were talking about that. It was during our preview episode where I forgot that they had like even got that far into the Hellraiser recasting project. Then Tim was like, oh yeah, no, remember? And I remember getting so annoyed at people getting all uptight about it on Twitter, and I'm like,
no. And if the source material is Olive Cloud Barker. So I mean, I don't think any of the Cenobites are supposed to be like locked gender type thing. I mean, these are like it's so fluid and everything. I think that's kind of ridiculous, the criticism of that. But you're gonna have that with any time they have any kind of gender flip.
I like reimagining roles as like the opposite gender. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that's interesting. I like it. I don't know. I think it's fun. So I guess that's my answer.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. See, that's pretty good on being on the spot too, like that. You came through.
These can be tough. That's actually a really tough one. I had to sit there and think about that one for a minute. Sometimes they're easy. There's sometimes like, what's your favorite roller coaster? And I'm like, okay, we can talk about this. I know exactly like that.
Yeah, well, we're getting to the harder ones, and we only have a handful left. So I'm like, really, it's like they're and they seem to all be like challenging ones, and they're just kind of, I do like this randomizer, and whichever comes to the top is it. So it's funny, because Cody has given us the last like 3 that I put on the list. She just and it was only 2 left from David. She's got the odds advantage to come up in the thing.
Those are the most fun though. I like the challenging ones.
Yeah,
they're definitely the most fun. People think, oh, I'm sorry I gave you a hard one. No, like that's the ones we want. I want the ones that make me think, because those generate the most interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I want to start a thing where we can start getting petitioning for you to be in the new Silent Night.
Yeah, there you go. As the killer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would die.
Emily Sweet is a killer Santa Claus. That would be great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. But no, the thing that I'm mostly putting out in the universe is to be in, if they ever remake Reanimator, is to
see. And there's a perfect there. You could easily take Barbara's role. Barbara's legendary, but obviously you need to, you want to switch something. There you go.
Thanks.
So should we put that out there for you too? Just
thank you.
Not that we have much say in the world, but we'll try.
Yeah, we try. I don't know. We are like, we generate reality sometimes.
That's true. We have
comments, so you never know.
Inadvertently, never to our benefit though. So we need to turn that around. Yeah. We need to make sure it happens. But it was, oh my God, it was so much fun having you on as like a full like episode like this. This was cool. I hope you enjoyed it.
I loved it. I love you guys so much. You know that I adore you both. And so I just always love coming on and even just like talking in our group chat. I was very honored that you asked me to be a part of this.
Thank you God. So we adore you as well. And you would have you on at any time and any kind of stuff, anytime you're in a movie, of course, we're going to be the first in line to make sure we check it out. Yeah, the virtual line, in case it doesn't come into a theater and it comes onto like a Shudder exclusive or something.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks again, Emily, for coming on. Do you have anything you want to share? Like,
of course. I got to give you some
some floor time here to promote yourself.
Boys, let's see. Well, I did 2 movies last year that are coming out this year. One, not a horror, which is so bizarre for me. It's called Savage Midlife. It also stars Paula Abdul and Eddie Griffin. And it's like an over-the-top comedy where I play the villain. So I guess I can kind of relate it to horror, where at least I'm the villain in it. But that's going to come out this year. It's about, how silly is this? It's about a wrestler's tank top from the 80s, which sounds very bizarre, but it's funny. And it was nice to it was very out of my wheelhouse because I, usually do only horror. So I'm excited for that. And then the people behind the Joe Bob show, we went to Serbia and filmed a horror movie called, the working title is Eight Eyes. I don't know what it will be when it is eventually released. But that one I'm very excited about, shot on 16 millimeter, all in Serbia. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And that's really what I have.
That's cool. Well, yeah. And of course you have a nice array of movies you can find currently, of course, like Hostage House still on Netflix, right?
And it also came to other streaming platforms as well, just not also, which I thought was bizarre, but exciting. So yeah, if you don't have Netflix, then you can find it other places too now.
Nice. And of course there was the Fear Farm and the Castle Freak remake, the Cry Havoc, which I know I own, by the way. I told you I purchased that. I have that, a digital copy of that.
But yeah.
I know you always say that when I bring that movie up, and it's a fun movie. I like it.
Thank you.
It's got fake Charles Bronson in it. That's great. Anytime you get to star with fake Charles Bronson, that's
I know, it's a good time.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, thank you. Oh my God, thank you for coming on. That was great. And of course, this will be hopefully the first of several times you will come back on when we talk about the Shelly Winters biopic that's due out next year.
Oh God,
you have to come on now that you're part of.
And would you watch it if that was me, if they cast me? Would you watch it?
Oh my God, that might be the only reason Tim would watch it. I think that's the only way he would watch it.
Yeah,
especially if you dressed up as like the hillbilly from Pete's Dragon, like for the promo show.
Can you imagine how bizarre that would be?
I wish everyone could see just Tim's reaction right
now.
Oh
my God.
I know.
So
we might have to do a first ever and just show a couple of video clips from
we're gonna take some
session.
snapshots.
Just to see Tim's crack up. I wish I would have freeze framed. Maybe I can still, if I go back in the video, take a capture of that where you guys both cracked up at the same time by going different directions. I
was going back and Emily was going forward.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh, people seem to like these things where it's not just me and Brian hosting, probably because they're tired of listening to us. So they're like, oh, thank God there's somebody else hosting the show finally. Yeah. So I think everybody's going to love this episode. I hope we have many more of them.
No, I just hope people really watch this movie, and I hope that they write to you guys and give you a play-by-play of every single scene, because, oh my gosh, just bonkers.
I know that should be almost a thing. I want everyone to now that we have the website up, actually, people should just email us or, email us their whole description of it. You know who we got to watch? It hasn't seen it. Our good friend, Jeff Whitmire. We need to have him.
Jeff hasn't seen it. Oh my! I
don't know if he has. If he hasn't, he does.
He needs to live tweet that. Yeah, he needs to live tweet this one.
That's what I'm saying. He does so he's, I don't know, Emily, if you saw, he does these, he's like the horror Weird Al Yankovic. He makes all these amazing things. I think he saw him I think he interacted with you on Twitter and stuff. And so he does, as part of his Kickstarter, he does live tweets if you get to a certain plateau for his album. And so he's been super busy. He's had about 6 of them in the last week, because I guess a lot of people have that tier. And I think he's doing a UHF one, actually, which is kind of funny with Weird Al Yankovic, being he's such the horror version of him. Be kind of cool to tune in on that next week. But yeah, if he hasn't seen this yet, I got to hear his opinion, and I'd love to see a live tweet with him doing that. But that's great. But what we need to do is really do some live tweets with Emily. You have to come on with us, and we do a one of those live commentary ones, which will be fun.
100%.
You're a watch party, or
yeah. See, Emily is the nicest. So you don't even understand. If we can surely say, you hear her on the show. This is not acting. She isn't a great actress, but this is not it. She's this nice, is what I was saying. That was the point. It was supposed to be a compliment. It came out really awkward. But yes, she is really as nice as she sounds on here, and she's super friendly. So make sure everyone follows her on Twitter and Instagram, and follow all her movies, and keep up with her career because it's very exciting, especially the Shelly Winters biopic, which just announced on this show. Who would have thought that? I mean, this show goes in weird places, but I didn't think Shelly Winters would dominate this show.
Shelly Winters dominates everything she's in. Trust me, Brian.
Yeah, that's true.
She mentally dominates me.
She's gonna dominate Tim's dreams.
Yes,
it is like she's like she lives
God.
rent free in Tim's head.
Yes, she does. Oh, she's been living there for decades.
Yeah,
literally decades.
I already said, I know, like this, Tim is never going to live this down either. Now,
I know. I'm so sorry, Tim.
I even hesitated to bring it up because I knew it was going to open up a big can of worms, and but it's okay. It's okay.
Imagine each worm's head was Shelly Winters' head.
I haven't even gotten into my Muppet movie trauma yet, which I've also threatened Brian with.
How do you have a trauma with the Muppet? I think I know why, but yeah.
I don't like the Muppets. I have a weird thing about Muppets and puppets. So I don't know if that's a similar thing, Tim, or if your story is completely different. If it's
mine is, I'll go ahead and mention it because I don't know where we're ever going to fit it into a show. But I got really
why not? Where this show has gone off the rails. It's great.
I got really freaked out by the guy that is chasing Kermit, and he's got like that frog sticker thing, like the thing that kills frogs. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In the original Muppet movie, and this guy's got this like pitchfork thing to kill frogs, like a frog gigger. Is what it is.
Awful.
And he's going after Kermit, and that freaked me out. Like that scared me when I was a kid, and then to this day, I still don't really like to watch the Muppet movie, the original Muppet movie. I like the second. I like Great Muppet Caper. And I like Muppets Take Manhattan because they don't have the frog sticker guy, but the first one still kind of freaks me out.
Frog sticker. Well, I figured you were gonna say like Sweetums. Like to me, I always think the Muppets are creepy when they're like full size and they're just a costume. You're not fooling anyone. You're no longer a Muppet. You're a person in a costume. You know, like the Gorgs from Fraggle Rock.
Oh,
I think we're totally creeping Emily out.
You're creeping me out too. Yeah.
So, quick story. I went to Disney with my friend Steve, who is the nicest person in the world. I think I might have mentioned before. He has, his show on Discovery Plus, the Ghost Hunter, is all that.
Oh yeah.
And so he loves Disney, and so I went with him one time. And he is just, I can't express, he's the nicest person. And so he's like, oh, I really want to take you on the Muppet show, in the Muppet show. And I was like, I okay. Yeah, no, great. So yeah, great. And so like we were drinking while we were there. I was like, I'm just gonna need another drink. I'm just gonna have to down this drink before we go in. I'm in it, and the whole time he was like, isn't this so great? Like, I love it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified.
And it's the Muppets 3D, no less. So they jumped out.
Yeah,
on
so they're jumping out at you. Yeah.
Could you imagine our text feeds now? It's literally going to be like Muppets, Shelly Winters, and eyeballs. I mean, it's like...
Well, along with Kyle Richards.
yes, of course, Kyle. Yeah, I know. It's so funny. I keep sending you all those things as if you're not watching it live because like you follow her too, and I'm like still forwarding it in. I'm like, hey, did you see this one?
No, I love it because not that we need to talk about Kyle Richards, but her Christmas movie, I got it first from you, and then I
Well, we got it from Cone, of course, because Cone is like the breaking news of everything comes to us. But that was actually a fun Christmas movie. I like that. That's good. Did you see that, Tim? Tim's a big Christmas movie fan.
No, I missed that one. Which one is it?
It's on Peacock. It's got Wives of the North Pole or Housewives of the North Pole.
I honestly still haven't seen it because I don't have Peacock. And my sister, I was gonna watch it with my sister when I was in Denver, and she doesn't have it either. So I still have yet to see it.
Yeah, it's so funny. I got Peacock specifically just for. I said I was never gonna get it because I got annoyed that they were like doing something with the hockey, but then they lost the hockey rights anyway, so it didn't matter. So I refused to get them, and then when Halloween was on there, I'm like. All right, I'll get it for a month just so I can rewatch Halloween and everything. And now I still have it. And then I'm like, well, I'll watch this with it. And then now I'm like, literally, it's the streaming service I watch like next to Shudder because I've been rewatching all the Offices during the day. The show The Office, I just put it on the background and I'm watching it. And then now I know the Olympics are going to stream on there, so I'm like, I'll probably watch that a little. So I all I had to do was just buy the package early and I would have had like half the price for Peacock. But
I've got so many of those that I was going to sign up for one show and I still have them, which is what they count on you doing. They know you're not going to go through the trouble of canceling it. So I've still got like 20 of them now.
Yeah,
I did finally cancel the Hallmark channel because I signed up for that.
You actually had it?
I had it for the Christmas movies, and I did remember to cancel that one after December, but
Yeah. And I usually put reminders on my phone. Like I'm like for the Apple TV, like I'm gonna have to binge all these shows I want to watch. And I have the 3-month thing. It's funny. Amy said this. She did the same thing because, like, I guess she was saying how she got the 3-month thing or something, or she was telling me shows to watch like in the 3-month span. So I have like, I know it's like that, like Ted Lasso, Dickinson, and some show Cone told me to watch. I don't know that, but and now there's something new though. Like I guess that M. Night Shyamalan's on there, but then a new show I saw is coming out starting in like next week or something. So I got to binge everything in like a 3-month period.
What was M. Night Shyamalan's series that he had?
That's the one. I forgot the name of it.
And that's on Peacock? Wait, where did you
No,
say
that's on. I'm sorry, Apple TV. That one's on Apple.
TV.
Yeah.
I was like Peacock. Okay, that
Yeah,
makes
no,
sense.
yeah, no. The Peacock actually has a lot of good stuff I like on it, but I'm like, I can't keep everything. I don't know. And it's like even my family keeps saying, "Well, how many things do you have already?" And I'm like, all of them. I know. I can't
All of them.
can't
All
stop.
of them.
All of them, I know.
And like Julie bought the one. She bought the one I didn't have, which was Discovery Plus. She had bought like the trial for that. So
I love.
now I want to see
Discovery Plus.
the real was the real like documentary on Scream, like it was based what Scream
Yeah,
was based on,
that
which
just
is
came out on
Plus
Discovery.
now. So.
Yeah.
I know.
Cool. Oh,
So
okay.
now there's
Yeah.
another stream. It's like I swear to God, they must be all in cahoots. They're like, they probably go sit there at a meeting and they're like, all right, here's the 12 shows. And you take this one, I'll take this one.
Yeah,
Right.
you do this one in February. You do this one in March. you do
Yeah.
this one in April.
It's not fair. It's like, leave us alone, just put it all on one thing. But you know.
I know.
But we got
That's
some fun shows coming up, guys.
Yeah.
We got another interview next week.
Yes.
Are we gonna spoil like who it's gonna be?
Maybe we'll tease it like during the week. We'll keep it.
Yeah, we'll tease it on social media who it is gonna be. That's gonna be. I'm really looking forward to that one. And then we got another interview the following week.
Oh yeah, one
with
of
somebody
Tim's
we're very
dreams
excited.
guest.
One of my dream guests.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got, and then we got another one after that.
Yeah. I got another. Yeah. So we have like interview after interview. We started off with a interview bonanza this week, and then that was good. This one, that's why I'm glad this was more of like just a couple of like a good friend coming on and helping us co-host.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun, you guys. Thank you.